good morning everybody. It's another ride out on a Saturday morning, and that is the reason for the good morning. Look at the weather. I think is a little bit of a weather check at the time recording. I do believe we've got some thunderstorms coming at some point, but I thought I would get out this morning and make the best of it. So today is all about going to test ride the Triumph Scrambler XE from my friends at Pure Triumph. So I'm taking a little bit of a wiggly, windy route there on the old trusty GS, and we're going to see what it's all about. Really, it's been out for quite a while. I have ridden it once before, but today is all about could I live with it. Anyway, it's gorgeous, absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy to be out this morning, out and about on the roads. The traffic's a little bit busy, I would have said, for a Saturday morning. I think people are out and about. We're still kind of in a semi-lockdown situation, so there we go. But I've seen quite a few Porsche drivers out this morning. I nearly said Porsches, and I'm sure I'll be criticised for doing that, but there's quite a few Porsche out this morning, and I think they're probably I don't know, maybe out. In fact, there's quite a few very nice cars out today, but then again, that's not what we're looking at. Let's go and have a look at this motorbikes. Well, look at this, eh? Look, if there is one dealership that is set in a lovely surrounding, it's Woburn. Pure Triumph in Woburn. This is Woburn Sands. It's a lovely village. Or is it a town? I don't know. It's probably a town being made up. I always get those mixed up. But anyway, there we go. So, lovely town. Very clean. Very well set up. Very nice. Let's stick to the limit. I say this is a lovely village, but I'm not going to bore you too much with it. I'm just going to let you know that it's probably spoilt by the motorcycle dealership for the locals, with motorcycles coming in and coming out. But for me, it's a lovely place to visit because there's a motorcycle dealership. Pure Triumph here in Woburn, and its sister over there in Wellingborough. And I say I'm here today to have a little bit of a try of the Triumph Scrambler XE, which is the taller version. So I want to see how I get on with my 29-inch inside leg, see whether I'm on tippy toes or whether it's any different to the GS that I'm riding at the moment. So here we go, and there it is, sitting out there ready to rock and roll. And there's Ivor. Well, leave the trusty GS at the dealership, and let's go see what this Scrambler's all about. So looking at it, it is fairly tall as bikes go. It'd be very interesting to know what it is against the Speed Twin. Oh yeah, very tall. So I am on tippy toes. Put the old dashboard in. Good morning, dude, it says. Very nice sound to it. So I think the initial feeling getting on the bike is that it does feel quite tall, but it feels very capable and quite well balanced, he says, coming out of here, and it's almost like sitting up in a high chair. I'm not sure. Well, you can definitely feel the nakedness of the bike. I'm just going to bring that down. So, yeah, definitely feel the nakedness. So I do have to apologise for the wind. So, like I said, a little bit like sitting up on a high chair. Very smooth in its gear changes. So far, only going up. Wow. windy. So at the moment there are various different modes. I couldn't tell you what mode I'm in at the moment, but I'll take a look. It's quite hard on the suspension compared to obviously the GS, which it probably should be, due to the fact that it is supposedly an off-road bike. So what are we in now? We're in road mode. Let's take it into what mode are we in? Let's have a look. Oh, remember to go around the corner. I don't know what mode I am in. Road. Yes, you have to do that, don't you? Road. Sport. Right, I'm in sport mode now. So, let's see what it's like on the old acceleration. Yep, it goes. Definitely one to hang on to. Feel quite hard on the seat. So is it a relaxing ride? No. Is it one of those bikes that you can just go out for a nice little Sunday ride on? No, because it's already hard on my bum, so it's not comfortable, and it is quite hard on the old suspension. But then again, I'm in sports mode at the moment, so I'm guessing already I'm going to say to myself, can I live with it? And to be honest with you, I'm not sure I can. Great, absolutely fantastic gear changing. Really, really good. Give it credit for that. The bars are fairly wide, as most people who review would say, but I don't feel that they're an uncomfortable width at all, and I don't feel that they're too wide. In fact, you know, it's not like you're riding a blooming great big wide barred Harley Davidson or anything like that. It's just a naked bike. The torque is amazing, absolutely amazing, and the brakes are pretty good as well. Actually, I changed down then thinking that I'd got quick shifter, and I haven't. Well, I don't think I have anyway. Let's have a look. No quick shifter. So I'm going to pull over in a minute, have a look at it, because I want to kind of like make up my mind reasonably quickly by doing that back to back. Oh, I can feel that exhaust. That's another thing that I think I have just noticed without being reminded. The exhaust is warm on your leg. So my right leg is where the exhaust goes down fast, and pressing my leg up against it, I can feel it. Anyway, let's do a little bit of riding and see what it's like. I needed a quick shifter there. I felt like I needed to shift down with a quick shifter, which would have been absolutely perfect. Sawbum. Where's the bloody side stand? Right, I'm going to do something I don't normally do on these videos. I'm going to get into some specifications of this particular Bonneville. This is obviously the 1200XC, so this is the more expensive one. It starts at £12,300 as the time of the video. I've had a quick look around it now and it's kind of like coming to the conclusion that actually it's not the bike for me, because it's a little bit too uncomfortable, a bit too hard on the seat, and not the sort of thing that I want in my garage. Great bike, great torque, but not for me. Anyway, this is the 2020 Cobalt. Well, actually it is the 69 plate, this one, but it's the 2020 version. It's in Cobalt Blue and Jet Black, and you can also get it in Fusion White and Brooklands Green. Now, just to let you know, there are 73 accessories that are available for this bike, and some of the technical stuff is it weighs, dry weight, 207 kilograms. So it's not one of the lightest bikes out there, but it's not massively heavy. Its centre of gravity is not too bad, having driven it. I would say engine wise, 97.6 millimeters, 80 millimeter stroke. Goodness knows what all that lot means. 90 PS or 89 brake horsepower at 7,400 RPM. But here's the beautiful bit about it: the torque, 110 Newton meters of torque, very low down at 3,950 RPM. So amazing. Brakes, it's got those as well, obviously, but these are ones that are going to stop you. So on the front, twin 320mm Brembo discs with the M54 pistons, radial monoblock calipers, and then on the rear you've got a single 255mm Brembo 2-pot floating caliper. Excellent. So it does stop. It's nice to look at, but you know, when you start tapping around on it, as I'm doing on the video at the moment, there are a few little bits and pieces on it that lets it down. It hasn't got the Triumph refinement that I expected it to have. The bars are quite wide on it at 905 millimeters. The height without the mirrors is a 1.25 meters, so 1,250 millimeters. And the interesting bit for all of you, I am 5'9", and I know I'm on tippy toes. Well, 5'8" now. I'm a bit older. I'm on tippy toes, but the seat height on this is 830 mil, so a little bit lower, and it might be okay for that normal road riding, but it's not a road bike, is it? It's for off-road. That's if people dare take it off-road. Now, it's a Euro 4 bike, if you and it does about 58 miles to the gallon, or according to Triumph anyway. It's got a 16-litre tank. The rake on the front end is 26.9 degrees. It's got shower forks, 250mm travel, and Öhlins adjustable rear suspension, also with 250 millimeters of travel. Now, it comes with a normal Triumph stuff saying that it's optimised for cornering, but having a conversation with my mate here on the ground, he's telling me that it didn't look comfortable to ride. Now, that could be a criticism of my riding, and thanks very much for that, Ivor, if you're watching this. But also, what it could be is it could be underinflation of the tyres or overinflation of the tyres. But he said that it felt like it was skipping around the corner. Now, I was doing a number of little bits and pieces like you do when you ride a bike. So this one has got a second generation TFT on it, which I'm not disappointed with, but I'm not overly. I think other bike manufacturers do their TFTs better. I think BMW do a good TFT. I think the first generation TFT that Triumph came out with left quite a bit of room for improvement, and I think they've now got another version on their Tiger 900, which I'm yet to have a look at. Light's pretty good on it. So you know, it looks nice. It's not a bad bike. It looks sweet, but it's still got some bits and pieces with it that it maybe for me needs to have a refined or maybe just be a little bit better. So I say some of the finish on it is not brilliant. It doesn't or hasn't fared well for the time that it's actually been on the road. I'm not overly keen on the fact that with this particular bike it's keyless, and you need a key to undo the fuel. So that's kind of like pointless for me. But you know, it's, as I say, walking around it, I was just maybe just a little bit disappointed, and that's the reason for doing like the voiceover here. So with some of the specs, so it was back to the garage, and what I didn't quite understand today, or I didn't know, that I wasn't going to be able to get out on the Speed Twin as a back-to-back comparison that I wanted to do. but I did, and they had one for me. So let's take a look at the Speed Twin, and what did I think of that? Well, straight onto the Speed Twin, and my feet are well and truly flat to the floor, which is great. Side stands up, so no mistakes. Well and truly into gear. Brembo's on the front and normal Nissans, I believe, on the back. So let's wait and see. Much more comfy seat, I can feel. I'm going to close the lid. It's one of those, thank goodness for the air that's coming through. Already the differences I feel here is that my knees are a little bit more close up to my chest, and it could be the fact that I've just got off of the Scrambler. I quite like this. Well, I like it so far. It just feels like my bum's a bit more comfortable and I'm out for a Sunday ride. The weather is good, so that's always nice for test riding a bike. I'm in road mode at the moment. You can see these clocks are very traditional clocks, much narrower bars than the Scrambler. Still got some LED, but also traditional headlight bulb. Doesn't feel in this that I'm getting the same wind as I was getting before with the Scrambler. No idea for the reasons why. Very interesting to see the clocks rather than a digital display. Nothing particularly massively special about the way that this bike rides in terms of its technology. I think it's very kind of traditional. Right, gear 4, and let's just give it a little bit and see what it does engine wise. Oh god, yeah, it's got the same pull, but then again it would have, wouldn't it? Oh, it feels very well balanced. Very well balanced. I'm impressed with this. Yeah, very impressed. I suppose I ought to warm the tyre up, but it does feel like a nice ride, this. And very light, very nimble, very easy to ride. Very push bike-ish is what I call this. Apologies again for the wind, with it being a naked bike. I'm not sure that you would want to actually have a screen. Just going to indicate and do the same trip as what I did before. Well, whilst he goes waffling on about all the stuff that he's doing whilst he's riding, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about the engine and the transmission and a few more specifications. So this one sits in the Bonneville range. It's got the 1200cc engine too. Obviously, as you've heard, it's very much the same in terms of the way that it gives that power delivery, and it does sound lovely. It's the liquid-cooled 8-valve 270 degree crank angled parallel twin. The bore on this one is 97.6 millimeters, exactly the same as the Scrambler. The stroke is 80 millimeters, compression 11.0 to 1. It's 97 PS, 96 brake horsepower, so slightly different. That's at 6,750 RPM. It's got 112 newton meters of torque at 4,950 RPM. Multi-point sequential electronic fuel injection, so it's all the same. It's got the 6-speed gearbox in exactly the same way. Now let's get onto the important bits, shall we? We want to talk about the dimensions and weight. So the width of the handlebars is slightly less, 760 millimeters, well, quite a bit actually. The height without the mirrors is less too, at 1110 millimeters. The seat height 807, so it's just got a little bit of a shaving off. I think I said 820. Did I say 820? No, 830 was the seat height for the Scrambler, and this one sits at 807. The rake is 22.8. The dry weight of this one is 196, so again slightly less than the dry weight, which was 207 for the Scrambler. Tank capacity less to 14.5. Fuel consumption, so if you can afford the bike, you can afford the fuel.
59 miles to the gallon to Euro 4 in exactly the same way. As I said, there's quite a few accessories that you can buy on this one. The vehicle in itself, the Speed Twin, starts off at £10,700. There are a few additional items that you can add to that, such as paintwork and bits and pieces like that, but it's not a bad bike. Again, whether I could live with it, I don't know, because when I pulled over, I had a look and there's a few rusty bits on it, and I was quite disappointed about that. Now, I know the dealer said to me that the bike has been ridden through the winter, and you know, they would fully expect that you know, you would get a little bit of rust on it here, there and everywhere. Well, I'm not so sure whether you should fully expect that there'd be some rust on it. Now, I know that most of these dealers, they don't really look after their bikes in terms of the TFR they use, the traffic film remover. They tend to use stuff that's probably just a little bit more hard on the bikes than what they should do. So, you know, message out for them, any of you dealers that are watching, be careful about what it is that you use on your bikes when you clean them. Somebody like me has got to buy that bike after you've killed it. But this one, as I said, on the back end had a bit of rust on it, and I just would have thought that it would have fared a little bit better. So for me, the finish or the age of this bike or the roughness has kind of put me off buying it. Could I live with it? Could I have it in my garage? Yeah, I think so. But there's plenty of other bikes out there, and a few more have caught my eye. So before I jump into making a decision, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a look around. And I did, because I drove over to Pure Triumph, the sister to Pure in Woburn, and I had a go at the Speed Triple, because my mate who's with me, who's just about to pull up behind me, said, why don't you try one of these out? And he's got the Street Triple, and I like a bigger engine. I don't know, just, yeah, why not? So let's have a look at that bike then, shall we? But first of all, let me show you around some of the rusty bits on this one.
Let's take a look at it. Either catches me up. So the Speed Twin, very nice. This one's in black, obviously. That's like the statement of you know. I wonder if this is the triple black or whatever. Very nice retro feel to it. Very, very pokey. Engine's really good. Quite comfortable. Flat-footed. Yeah, just really nice. I think I'd get quite frustrated with seeing rust.
You just keep changing it under warranty for you.
Well, that's what Triumph are good at. But that's not very good though, is it? To be honest. That there's rust in there and rust on here. You know, for a 69 6-month-old bike.
Oh my goodness, look what's happening here. You can't help it, can you? You go out test ride one bike and you end up test riding 3. Apologies the video is so long, but let's have a look at this one. This is a sexy bike.
We've gone from 2 little up and downy things to 3 little up and downy things. And a very sharp clutch. Very much fun. The Speed Triple 1050 RS. We'll take a look at this in a minute. So we're out in Wellingborough. I've just gone to see the sister company, Pure Triumph in Wellingborough, and they've dug this out for me. I've just signed on the old insurance and away we go. So we're looking at the 1050. I have to say, the only thing I don't like about these, and I am a grumpy old bugger, the only thing I don't like about these is the old, what seems to be like the afterthought bolt-on kind of boogie eye things. The headlights. But I have to say, when you're going along and you're looking behind you, they are pretty good, reasonably bright. So let's have a look at this and see what it's all about. So with the 1000cc or just over, obviously I should have oodles of smooth poke. And now what have I done is I've just followed a Ford Fiesta. So what am I going to get out of this? I don't know. So this has got the quick shifter on it, which apparently doesn't come with as standard. So let's see. whether it's any different, but seems to be quite good at the moment. Let's just overtake this car and see what we're like. So oh, it's a hooligan, and that's just in road mode. Makes a lot of noise. Comes as standard with the arrow cans on it. Very different bike to what I'm used to riding. It's quite a hoot, as they would say. So there it is. I have to say, the only thing that I don't like about the bikes is what I just mentioned. It's kind of like that bolted on front end bit, but I'm not sure whatever else they could do with it. So I don't know, maybe it's something, LED lights in a better way. They have got LEDs here, and I know that if you put it on your running lights for whatever reason, it just goes to that, which I think is pretty good for cars to recognise you when you're coming up behind them. So that's pretty good. LED indicators are great. The RS model, lovely with the old carbon fibre, finishes it off. The Brembo brakes are brilliant. The way that the bike pulls away, and the clutch is a great action, absolutely fantastic. The arrow pipes that come with standard is also pretty good and has a great sound to it. Yeah, well, every biker has to do it. The speed triple, nice colours, but they have changed the colours, I believe, for the 2020 version. So this one being a year old now, with, I can't think, maybe about 5,000 miles on it, something like that. I'm not sure, 4,500. So, and that's the important bit for me, because I want to see, and I want to be able to understand. Let's just clip it off for a minute and just have a quick look to see on this dash what the crack is in relation to the mileage that it has done. If I can see that, and I'm guessing that I can't. Come on, what are you going to tell me? 4,831 miles it's done. So, for a bike that's done 4,831 miles, what kind of condition is it in? And I have to say, actually, it doesn't look too bad at all. As you look around it, it doesn't look too bad. So one of the things I wanted to have a look at first are the discs, to see how the discs have worn, and they're pretty good. It's got Brembos on the front. I'm not sure about the state of the discs that are in there. The radiators look okay. The oil cooler all looks good too. I can't see any rust around any of the bolts or anything like that, and they don't look too pitted. Whoever's had this bike, and I wouldn't imagine it's completely from dealership, I would imagine it's been owned before. Whoever's had it has looked after it in the main. There are some bits and pieces on it that you would have thought probably could be a little bit cleaner, and that's as you look down that kind of area. But I guess that just, you know, you got to ride the damn thing. As I said, I think these are extras, and they're pretty good. So that's going to save some of this panel work if it does fall on its side. So good to have. It looks like the original sticker is still on there. So obviously it's been looked after. It's been ridden, I'm sure. I'm looking for other signs of damage or wear or whatever on it, and I can't really see any. I think it's in pretty good nick, actually, I have to say. I'm quite impressed with that. Looking at the rear, which is always a telltale sign of the amount of work that a bike has done, and looking at that chain, and you can see from there that chain definitely needs a little bit of love. Probably a bit more love than it's received. Lots of dirt and stuff around here, and the kind of the normal everyday stuff. The arrow pipe, I think those rivets are coloured like that anyway. Quick shifter I can see is on there. I'm just going to have a look down and have a look, because I don't actually think I said, I'm sorry to be on my side, I said I thought it was a Brembo at the rear, and actually it's not. It's not a rear Brembo. So now I'm laying on the floor, I might as well stay here for a minute. Adjustable O-lins, I guess they're O-lins. Adjustable, I'm not sure. You would have to obviously get set up for your own weight, but I think there are a few extras and bits and pieces that you can buy on this bike too. So yeah, looks nice. Nice bike, not bad. And good to see, good to actually go out on a bike that's a year old, just so that you can see kind of like how it fares.
Well, it's only fair. I've done a very long video now, and it's only fair if I tell you a little bit about this particular bike. Now, you can get the Speed Triple and the Speed Triple RS. This is the RS model that we're looking at the moment. It's a 1050cc engine, liquid-cooled 12-valve, 3 cylinders. Obviously, the bore is 29 millimeters. The stroke is 71.4 millimeters. And it's 150 PS or 148 brake horsepower. That's 110 kilowatts at 10,500 RPM. So obviously, with it being quite a small board triple, it has got quite a lot of high revving. Now, it's 117 newton meters of torque at 7,150 RPM. Please don't go asleep, not just yet. 6-speed. It's got some of the weights and dimensions. It has handlebars at 775 millimeters. The height without the mirrors is 1,070 millimeters. The seat height is 825. Wheelbase 1.445 millimeters, 1,445 millimeters. That's just under 1.5 meters. The rake is 22.9 degrees. The dry weight of this one 192 kilos, so it's not heavy. Tank capacity is 15.5 litres. It's got a Euro 4 engine, and as I am saying, the Speed Triple S has a starting price of 11,600, and the Speed Triple RS has a starting price of £13,600. Now, one of the interesting things to say is at the time of viewing and recording the video that Triumph did have a little bit of a deal on up until the end of June, where they put a £750 towards your finance, and I'm sure there's many dealers out there that are also going to do you a little bit of a deal. It is obviously that time of year. They can always knock a little bit off. Depending on obviously whether you've got a trade-in or anything like that. So the RS, I believe, comes in crystal white and red, or matte black and green this time at the moment. Obviously the one we're looking at is an older version, so quite a nice bike. 45 accessories are possible to be able to add on to it, a number of very interesting ones. I think the quick shifter is an accessory, which I think is around about £300 if memory serves. But I have to say, I'm reasonably impressed with the bike. The one thing that lets it down for me really is the TFT. It's the Gen 1 TFT, as far as I'm aware, that comes with this particular bike. I'd like one of these, and I'd have one in the garage, and I'd be very, very happy with it, apart from that TFT screen. So I'm going to wait for the new version. Now, Triumph tell me that the new version has been put back 18 months, probably because they furloughed most of their people. Who knows? I don't know. And I don't really know where this one's made, whether it's made in the UK or whether it is made outside of the UK. But it's kind of like mid-range bike money at 13,600, and I say mid-range because obviously there are some bikes out there that are closer to 20 grand, like the Rocket. I like the look of the Rocket, so I'm going to do another test ride of that one. Let's see what the guy is moaning on about, and then for the rest of the video we're just going to take it back quickly.
DRS, nice kind of emblem going on there. The paintwork on Triumphs, I think, are always pretty good. As I said, I think the 2020 model is different in its graphic styling. The seat, I know the seat comes with a cover over the top there, so you can so it's not for a passenger. Red lines. Don't want to be putting that in the video.
Whoops.
Gear are we in? Can't see. Don't know. Fourth. Oh, it doesn't like going down into first, does it? No.
And that was the bits that I could show you, because some of the other ones were just a little bit too quick, and who can be bothered to block out the speed? Anyway, there we go. That was my day, test riding Triumphs. Hope you enjoyed watching. If you got all the way to the end, congratulations. You need to get yourself a little star. And if I was giving away t-shirts, then you'd have one. But I haven't got any, so I won't. Well, not unless you want one of my old ones. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and look out for the Triumph Rocket 3 test ride coming up in one of the videos coming up very, very soon. I want to go to Australia.